Off the Wall Productions is proud to present Voices of the Methow. This is a series of conversations with interesting folk in and around the valley. My wife Raven and I paid a visit to the Wenatchee Valley Museum and Cultural Center the other day. They were between exhibits, so we meandered upstairs to peruse some of the fine exhibits of indigenous cultural heritage as well as some of Wenatchee's colorful past. There's also a pretty cool train layout with amazing details that will mesmerize any person who is young at heart. Be sure and bring 50 cents to watch the train make its way through numerous tunnels and wind around mountainsides. We were on our way out of the museum when by chance I spotted an interesting-looking organ, and walking over to it, I became more impressed when I looked behind the organ at several windowed rooms full of pipes of various lengths and diameters and a mishmash of objects all intricately fastened together. There were bellows, drums, and a conglomeration of objects, and it suddenly dawned on me they were all connected to this organ. About then, a very pleasant young woman came up to us and introduced herself as Kasey, curator of exhibits, and asked if we wanted a demonstration of the organ. This is the result of accepting her kind offer. You will hear my wife Raven's voice as well as my own speaking with Kasey. I highly recommend a trip to the Wenatchee Valley Museum and Cultural Center. On with the show. Hey, this is Byron, and I'm with Kasey here. And we're standing in front of a marvelous Wurlitzer organ. Kasey, can you talk a little bit about this?
This is the original Wurlitzer orchestrion from the Liberty Theater, which is just a block away from us here on Mission Street. It moved here in 1989 when Washington State celebrated its centennial through a capital project that helped us bring it and all of its pipes and instruments up the street. Wow. It took more than what most people would imagine because, of course, each one of these pipes is also wired into the console. And so my understanding was that there was many intricate mechanical things that came along with this organ. It also helped us to provide the stage at the same time. To bring in an instrument like this took some customization of our space in order to house all the organ pipes and then to bring us an official stage platform to put the organ on and to make us the beautiful velvet drapery that makes it very reminiscent of an old-time theater. My husband was present the last time it was played at the theater. Before the project happened, Dave Gallatley, a gentleman who had played and his family had owned the theater for some time, I think, came on stage and asked if anyone in the audience would mind if he played it one more time before it made the big move. So you saw in the chambers there's many, many different instruments, and this is very specifically made to accompany silent films. So I'll start with some of the fun, odd things that most, like a church organ, would not have.
Why?
Yeah. So it's made to go along with silent films. Our Tweety bird, right over there, he lights up on stage. Isn't it cute? And this one the kids don't know anymore. The early auto horn, cars don't sound like that anymore.
Wow.
Then we've got the fire bell. So I've got a little extra percussion over here. Our drum roll. Cymbal crash. And this one also is a hard one for people to pick out these days. It's the Chinese blocks, but they use that as horse hooves. We have some presets on it, of course, for the events that happen regularly, and there's a player roll attached. So, although I do have, plenty of control, I'm not much of an organist. So, our solution, the player roll.
Oh, perfect.
Come on now. There we go.
Wow.
And we keep a fun, something ragtime on there, or we have rolls for the holidays and different things, so we can change them out seasonally if we want. Some of my favorites are actually contained in this chamber, and I'm going to give us a little more volume. Each organist that works with us has sort of a different repertoire, so it's fun. There was a younger fella that, has definitely absorbed the last 30 years of pop culture, say, and he does the Star Wars theme on here.
Right.
Oh, it's so dramatic. So it's interesting to have kind of that community around it as well. We have a team of volunteers that help us to maintain it.
Wow.
You can see there's thermometers in there. We've kind of had to monitor over the seasons because, of course, it's on our north-facing wall.
Right.
What does the temperature change bring about in the tuning of the organ? My bird just chirped at me, so I'm safe to turn it off without disturbing the player roll rewind because it is the old-fashioned paper roll.
Wow.
So if we stop at mid-roll, we can
could damage
tear
it.
them. Yeah.
Wow. I've never actually heard a live Wurlitzer before. I've only heard it in film.
Yeah.
So this is cool. This is so cool.
It's such a unique instrument.
Yeah.
And really,
And massive. It takes
yes, quite high tech for its time. Both the theater and the organ celebrated their 100th birthday last year. We had a little birthday party for the organ and brought in some of our local players that want to come in and have kept a, sort of ongoing relationship with this instrument. Sometimes we bring in players from further afield. There's a gentleman from New York who's come a number of times that he lets us know when he's doing a West Coast tour, because of course getting him here from New York is not cheap. So he always adds us as a stop on his West Coast tour. And then, like I said, there's a number of local folks. There's a gal from Seattle that comes every once in a while who does some vaudeville type stuff and lots of old show tunes and things.
Wow.
And when we do the actual silent film events, we typically have to bring someone in because it's a slightly different skill set to play while watching the film. Mm-hmm. They have the opportunity to preview the film, of course, before, but still to play with the film and not have like a long-term kind of practicing relationship with that film. It's, it's definitely a little different skill set. Yeah. Well, there you have it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope you had the opportunity to see some of our other vintage moving parts here. Most of it's pretty vintage. We are a museum after all, but the train upstairs can operate. Put a couple quarters in there, which is fun. That's a miracle that thing is also still alive. It's got 35 years on it here in this building. The kids just love it.
They must love it.
Oh, yes. And then the apple sorter, if you made it all the way down in the lower portion of the second building, there's the apple industry exhibit that's down there.
And there's
a vintage 1920s apple sorter, one of the first mechanized sorting instruments that was made here in the valley. Yeah. And it does also still work.
Well, thanks for giving some background on this beautiful piece of art.
Thanks for coming today. I'm glad you enjoyed I won't say it's a performance because really that's giving me far too much credit. But I'm glad you enjoyed this chance to demonstrate the Liberty Theater Wurlitzer Orchestrion.
You're doing pretty good, honestly. That sounded pretty good to me.
It's an awfully fun thing to do. How could you not smile to a classic old rag like that?
Well, you've got a really buoyant energy here, and I really appreciate the way that you just came up while I was looking in the window at all the pipes and things and made an offer to actually play this, and thank you so much for doing that.
You're very welcome. Glad I could enhance your visit today.
All right. You have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Enhancing your visit. I can't think of a better way to say it. The Wenatchee Valley Museum and Cultural Center. Check it out. You've been listening to Voices of the Methow, an off-the-wall production. Until next time, thanks for listening.